Every so often, there is a moment in time that has the potential to change everything. This is one of those moments. You just simply replace I can't with how can I. It's not your fault when unfair circumstances knock you down. But it's always your responsibility to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move yourself forward. If you're going to think like MacGyver, if you're going to switch from I can't to how can I, say yes, yes. Okay, now it's time to get to work. I want to tell you the story about how my dad saved my life. I was 7 years old. A lot of shit happened when I was 7. I don't know why. 7 years old, and we're on our way to school. My brother and I walked to school together. And we always threw this football. And he'd run up, and I'd throw it, and he'd catch it, and we just played catch. That was our thing. We played catch on the way to school. I woke up this one particular morning, and my stomach was so painful. My stomach hurt so bad. I thought, okay, whatever. So I get dressed, I'm on my way to school, I'm walking with my brother, and he throws the ball, and I catch it, and I throw it back, and then he caught it again. He threw it again. I said, I don't want to play. My brother said, what? You don't want to what? I had never said that in my life. You don't want to play catch? Now for my brother, this was like a catastrophe, like something's wrong. He said, no, come on, man, go out for a pass, let's do it. I don't want to walk to school regular, go for a pass. That was our thing. He said, come on. I said, I don't. He threw the ball anyways. Throws it. I let it pass. And I clutched my stomach like this. He immediately ran over, he grabbed the football, because you can't leave that. He said, let's go, we're going home. I said, no, we gotta go to school. Dad said we gotta go to school. He said, we're going home. Something's wrong. We're going home. I said, okay, but this is on you. When Dad gets mad, this is on you. This is not me. So we go home. And we didn't make a lot of money growing up. I literally cannot remember one day my dad took off work other than this day. That's how serious taking off work was in our house. My brother called my dad, and I hear him on the phone, and I'm just like, he says, Dad, this is exactly what he said, Dad, I was on the way to school with John, and he didn't want to play catch. Something's wrong with his stomach. It's bad. You got to come. And I walk my head down and go, oh my gosh, we're going to get in so much trouble. He said, I know. So I don't know what my dad said. He said, I know. He didn't want to play catch. I threw the ball at him. He let it go past. Something's wrong. And so my dad, he said, I'm on my way. He hung up the phone. He comes home. And I'm still thinking I'm going to get in trouble. My stomach hurts. I can be a little bit tougher than that, right? So my dad comes home. He says, all right, get in the car. We get in the car. We go to the doctor. And so we're at the doctor. Checks me out, does some tests, and he says to my dad, your son's got the stomach flu. It's normal, it's been going around. Drink some water, get some rest. He's gonna be fine. Might have a rough night, but it'll work its course. You gotta let it do its thing, and then he'll be okay, a couple of days to a week, depending on. And my dad said, that's not right. Something's not right. You gotta run more tests. He said, sir, I can assure you that it's the flu, it's a stomach bug. I see this all the time. And my dad interrupted me, he said, I don't believe you. He said, well, sir, with all due respect, I'm a doctor and I know all these things. He said, you don't know my son. You don't know my son. He didn't want to play catch on the way to school. Something's wrong. You got to run some more tests. And the doctor, in a smug way, basically told him, I'm not running any more tests. You take your son home, you give him some fluids. Like I told you, everything's going to be fine. We're done here. My dad was mad. We got in the truck. We came home, and we had this blue pickup truck. And I came home, I'm thinking, cool, we're gonna have some fluids, and maybe I'll go to school or what have you. And he grabbed some towels, and he's lining the truck with towels. I said, Dad, what are you doing? He said, I'm lining the truck with towels because I don't want you to throw up in my car. Get in the truck. I said, where are we going? He said, we're going to the hospital. So we go to the emergency room. We get there, and I sit down, and my dad's going up to the front. And he's having a conversation with him. He's saying, hey, how long is it gonna be? And after they told him, they said, look, sir, your kid's got a stomach ache. There's people here with serious injuries. We're very, very full. It's gonna be a long time before we see your son. You might as well take him home. It's gonna be a long time. Your son's got a stomach ache. And he said the same thing that he said to the doctor. You don't understand. It's not that. You gotta get him in. You gotta get him in fast. We don't have much time. And they said, sir, if you don't calm down, we're gonna have to call security. So as soon as they said that, he said, come on, let's go. So we get in the car, we get in the truck, we get in there, and I said, so we're going home? He said, no, we're going to another hospital. So we go to hospital number 2. And hospital number 2 started the exact same way hospital number 1 started. It was an exact replica. I go in, I sit down, he comes up and says, hey, we got to get him to see faster. And they say, sir, there's a lot of serious injuries here. He's bleeding. They got a broken leg. Your son's got a stomach ache. It's going to be a while. You might as well take him home. He says, we don't have a lot of time. You got to get him in. You got to get him seen. Something's wrong. And they said, sir, you need to calm down. He said, I'm not going to calm down. Something's wrong. He said, sir, if you don't calm down, that must be in the handbook. This is exactly what they say. Sir, if you don't calm down, we're going to have to call security. So he said, come on, let's go. Right? So we go and we get in the car. Now this time we get in the truck. My dad gets in. He closes the door. I get in. I close the door. And he doesn't start the truck up. He's just sitting there. And I'm looking at him and I just see his eyes well up with tears. His eyes are bloodshot red. He's just staring straight forward, not at me. And I said, Dad, are we going home? And he just sat there for what seemed like forever. It was probably just 10, 15 seconds. And he said, no, we're going to another hospital. So he starts the truck up and we go to this third hospital, dead silent in the truck. And we get there and it starts off the exact same way as the first hospital and the second emergency room. Same way. We get there, I sit down, my dad says, something's wrong, you've got to help him. And they say, sir, we got serious injuries, and we're getting further and further from our neighborhood, and the emergency rooms are getting a little more seedy as we get further. He says, sir, we got a lot of things going on. Your kid's got a stomach ache. It's going to be a while. You might as well take him home. He said, I'm not going to take him home. Something's wrong. You got to see him. And my dad's getting louder and louder. And they say, sir, if you don't calm down, we're going to have to call security. Now that time, he stood there like a statue and he said, call him. And I'm 7, but I know a sticky situation. When I see one, I'm like, oh shoot, this is not good. My dad looked like he was ready to go to war. Standing there, he said, call him. They picked up the phone, they called. My dad standing there. Security starts to come out. They're pointing at my dad. And then this doctor kneels down beside me and asks me a couple of questions, touches on my stomach a little bit, looks at me and says, son, what's your dad's name? I said, Roger. He stands up, he jolts my dad out of his anger. He said, Roger. And my dad thought it was a security guard for a second. He turned around. As soon as he realized it was a doctor, he said, let's go. Just like a commander, boom, you, here. I was in a gurney and I was in surgery in less than 10 minutes. What happened was my appendix had already burst. It had already burst. I was being poisoned as we speak. I was being poisoned by the minute. Had I went home like the doctor said, I wouldn't be here. Had my dad listened to them and went home after the first emergency room, I wouldn't be here. Had he got discouraged after that one and didn't stick it through, I wouldn't be here. If he didn't have the courage, even though he was scared, and I asked my dad years later, I said, Dad, when you were going from the second place to the third place and you were staying there and you didn't start the truck and you were just looking, I said, what was going through your head? He said, son, I was scared. I didn't know what the right thing to do. I started to question myself. What if they're right and I'm just being silly, but I knew something was wrong. I believed that something was wrong. So I said, we have to go. And we did. And I'm so grateful that my dad did that. He is the first person to master his progress. And I'm so glad he did because I'm here because of it. And if he didn't, I wouldn't be.